Alright, we are on the draw with Rug Delver, and it's going to be a little bit of a climb against something like aggro or combo, but Goyfs are pretty good at blocking, so I'm not too sad about it. Hedron Crab, so we're playing against Mill. I think I'd rather go turn 1 Delver than turn 1 Thought Scour, so we're going to start off with Delver. I will eventually want these lands. I'm just trying to consider fetching from the... What's the trap? From Zendikar. If they search their library, you pay 0, mill them for 13. I don't remember the... Archive Trap. I do remember the name of it. I think I want a breeding pool right off the bat. I want to do the searching now to give them as little time as possible to find the Archive Trap. So I'd prefer to do that right away. So that if they draw an Archive Trap right now, it's a lot closer to being dead. Mill triggers by the plenty. We're going to be seeing a lot of that. Well, we may as well pull up the graveyard, and conveniently, we may actually never need to Thought Scour. There's a glimpse. No, I don't care the order. I believe that's 10. It is, in fact, 10. Fantastic. 35 cards left. Spell Snare is a very good pickup. However, I can't use it unless I play Delver instead of Goyf. So the question is, would I rather play Delver or Goyf? Delver plus Snare. How low is our opponent going here? Blue-black mill at 16. Assuming the Delver flips, we have a 3-turn clock, which is pretty good. With Goyf, they chump once, and it's still a 3-turn clock. So if Delver flips, Delver plus Snare is better. If Delver doesn't flip, Goyf is probably better, because it's the faster clock. I do think I want to go for Delver plus Snare. If they do nothing, we could consider Thought Scouring. Or I guess if they cast... I am forgetting all the mill cards, not Breaking Entering. That I will happily Snare. Let's just counter that right away. 3 mana, Mind Funeral. There we go. It's all in there. They haven't milled away my knowledge of the mill cards yet. And Delver flipped. So that's awfully convenient. We're going to play this land, but we probably won't ever crack it. So that's a 3-turn clock, which now needs 2 more turns of combat. Yeah, 2 more turns, they're dead. If we play Goyf, they probably end up blocking with the Hedron Crab to survive. So it doesn't technically speed up the clock, but if they have any sort of removal, it does. So let's do that. We're still pretending we have some sort of counter magic, simply by virtue of having a Wooded Foothills and 3 cards in our hand. Yep. This also makes it so that, well, Lightning Bolt is lethal regardlessly now that they have cracked a fetch land, but if we draw a Tarfire or another removal spell that takes care of the Hedron Crab but can't do 3 to the face, then Goyf gives us lethal. That's 8 cards. No thank you. Go to us. Goyf is not what we need. Do I want to try Thought Scouring them to draw what I need to kill them? Because our opponent has 2 cards in their hand. They will have 3 by the time this is all said and done. Which means they have 3 chances to find 2 mill spells. Which seems like pretty good odds, although they didn't do anything with these. so maybe they don't have one yet, but I think it's a tall order for them to have 2 lands. Basically, if we just attack, they go down to 3, but if we Thought Scour ourselves to try to find a lightning bolt or something to that effect, we can potentially kill them right now. But we don't want to Thought Scour us, we want to Thought Scour them, so that they need 2 mill cards instead of 1. If we Thought Scour ourselves, we end up with 12 cards. I don't think there's a mill for 12, but mill for 10 plus Flooded Strand Hedron Crab could do it. This is actually 3 cards, which is notable. If we Thought Scour them, we'll have 14 cards in our library. Hedron Crab trigger 11. A mill 10 doesn't kill us. So they still need 2. If we Thought Scour twice, then a mill 10 does kill us. So let's Thought Scour them. Stubborn Denial is actually quite good. So I think I'm happy to stop there. We may as well. Give them the chance to screw up. I'm happy to do that. I'm pretty sure you block and crack the Flooded Strand immediately, but I have no qualms with giving our opponent the chance to make a misplay. Seems like a good idea. We don't want to thin the deck or cast... Well, we don't want to thin the deck, and casting Goyf isn't worth it. There we go, they didn't have it. Sweet. Okay, how do we sideboard against Mill? So, I think Dismember is the one I want to keep. There's a bit of a trade-off in Dismember, Vapor Snag, Simic Charm. Maybe Simic Charm's the right choice. So, Mill, I think it could just be sometimes, but I think it's always that they run Jace's Phantasm, which is a 1/1 flyer for 1, but if a player has 10 or more cards in the graveyard, it might just be their opponent, which is us, but I think it's any player. It becomes a 5/5 with flying for 1, which is pretty scary when you're a deck of 3/2s and 4/4s and sometimes just 4/5s. So I like having Dismember, Vapor Snag, or Simic Charm. I don't think I want all of them because I don't want to hedge that far in the Jace's Phantasm direction. I just want a decent out if they have one. I don't think Vapor Snag's the choice because Dismember permanently deals with Hedron Crabs at basically 0 cost because I don't care about my life total unless they have Jace's Phantasm, which is the only real damage relevant clock they have, and if they do, I'm probably Dismembering it. So Dismember already did its job, worth it. And Simic Charm can act as reach. So that's another possibility. I don't like Vapor Snag, but I think one of these two is going to stay. Potentially both, but I think I just want the one. Let's look at what we're going to sideboard out. Thought Scour is pretty irrelevant. A number of bolt effects. I don't think we're super concerned with Delirium against a deck that's filling up our graveyard. Speaking of which, Traverse isn't even that great unless we're tutoring up a Snapcaster Mage. Renegade's a pretty slow clock. I think I want all of these. I should probably bring in some cards. Is Blood Moon good against them? It could be. Could also be really bad. I want the Mountain for Mind Funeral. I am completely blanking on what I board in against Mill. Wow. Okay. None of these cards look good, so we're going to keep Vapor Snag, Simic Charm, and Dismember in the deck. Vapor Snag seems bad. EE seems bad. Pillar of Flame is a worse Starfire. Blood Moon seems okay at best, but it takes at least a turn off our clock probably by playing it. Huntmaster I don't want. Pyroclasm seems bad, and I don't think they play... They play at least one artifact, so I guess I board in at least the Ancient Grudges. Let's even board in the Revelry. Bring back the Thought Scours. They are pretty unnecessary, but they make it easier to land a clock, and I don't think there's anything else I want. This hand seems perfectly fine. We're probably going to end up shoaling a 2-mana spell, either by pitching a Shoal or a Snapcaster Mage. On turn 2, it will be Tarmogoyf. On turn 3, it could potentially be Hooting Mandrills, and we may or may not have a turn 1 play. I don't think they can play a 2-mana spell on turn 1, but why not? We'll hold up Disrupting Shoal just in case. Profane Memento? Wow. I mean, I get it, but I feel like the flashback life gain spell is Crypt Incursion. I'm thinking they should play Crypt Incursion, not the one Dredge plays with flashback. Crypt Incursion exiles cards from our graveyard and they gain 3, exiles creatures, I'm sorry, from our graveyard and they gain 3 for each one. I imagine that's better. In this spot, since we don't have a 1-drop, we are going to hold up our fetch until their turn so that we can bluff something like a Stubborn Denial? Or do we just not care about that bluff and I'd rather play around the top card of their deck being Archive Trap? I think I'm going to go with the latter. The question is, which fetch do we use? 2 green sources and an island seems pretty easy. I don't think I need double red, but eventually I would like it. Double green actually seems not super relevant, so let's give up on that. We're going to get a Steam Vents and an island? Why not just get a bunch of shocks? Yeah, we'll get a bunch of shocks. This will start off as a Steam Vents, I think. I was considering which color I don't want 2 sources of when I go shock, basic off of these fetch lands and the shock, because that's usually what I do, because you don't really need 2 of each color, but given that our opponent doesn't attack our life total in any meaningful way, we may as well just take the free color fixing just in case we want more of each color. Profane Memento is actually going to be a real pain. Of course, it's only 1, so 1 life per creature isn't the end of the world. We're going to slam Tarmogoyf because now Serum Visions allows us to counter a 1-mana spell or a 2-mana spell or a 1-mana spell and a 2-mana spell, pitching both of these great blue cards to the Disrupting Shoals. We're going to do more fetching proactively. They haven't had Archive Trap yet, and hopefully they won't find it in time. Let's play Goyf. Mandrills will probably come down next turn. I imagine the graveyards will be large enough to accommodate both. Hedron Crab does a lot of work for that deck. I'm really hoping not to see a Mind Funeral, but it might be there. Mind Funeral is very good against us because we don't run too many lands, and it's often a 3-mana mill 12 or more, with the upside of just having high variance. Sometimes it mills a bunch, sometimes it doesn't. I do believe I would like to counter that, so let's shoal it. I prefer my clocks intact when I play Magic. Yep, happens. Our graveyard is absolutely massive, so I am positive that I could afford to play Mandrills, but I also have the opportunity to hold up Snap Denial. We could always do that next turn, though, so let's get in, play Mandrills, clock first, ask questions later. Do I want to hold up this Serum Visions, or would I prefer to cast it? That's the question. We have absolutely no problem delving even just 5 lands. I feel like I want to cast this Serum Visions, but then I don't have Shoal Pitch Visions, which could be relevant. Also, Visions is just bad against Mill, so yeah. That's how it's going to be. Let's get rid of the Serum Visions. That's all fine. That is all well and good. Shock, untapped or tapped? Untapped. Let's pretend we have a mana leak. It's not like I'm really scared of life total here. Now, I don't want to pitch the Snapcaster Mage to Disrupting Shoal because I can Snap Denial or Snap Bolt, but it is something we could do if necessary. It just doesn't look like it's going to be necessary. Nope. Bunch of counter spells, some lands, some other stuff. Ghost Quarter is annoying, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Profane Memento gained them, I think, 3, maybe 4 life over the course of this game. Pay alternative costs. There's the Phantasm I was talking about whilst sideboarding, and I still don't want it around. Yup. I don't think we bother playing the Misty. I guess that depends on how many basics are in our graveyard. 1, 2. It's pretty unlikely that they mill the other island and the forest, which is a concern because of Ghost Quarter. So basically, if they Ghost Quarter one of our lands and we don't have a basic, we end up on 2 mana, and then we can't Snap Denial or Snap Bolt. Do we have Shocks in the deck still? Steam Vents, Breeding Pools, Stomping Ground, no Shocks. So, if they mill the 2 basics, we just won't be able to do our Snapcaster shenanigans. No point in playing the Misty. I suppose we could fetch out the basics proactively if they do crack the Ghost Quarter or try to mill us to potentially get rid of those basics, but that doesn't seem like a huge deal. I cannot snap Mana Leak, and I really don't think it's that big a deal that they have a Spellskite. Denial, Snap Denial is good enough that I absolutely want to stop bluffing with that land. And I probably will proactively fetch out a basic if they do go to mill us. Actually, are there basics? No, just a bunch of fetches and Serum Visions. Wow, that is awfully specific. If we counter that and they don't have anything good, we just win the game on the spot. So it seems like there's a lot of upside to countering that. Yup, there it is. Rug Delver, Beating Mill, 2-0. That makes me feel good because the last time I played against that I lost, and I don't like losing to good matchups. Although it will of course happen because let's pretend the mill matchup is 65-35 in our favor. That sounds like a great matchup. Unfortunately, that means we're still going to lose 35% of the time. I just wanted to bring up the deck here while I finished talking so that you guys didn't have like a blank screen. If you want to look at the deck, feel free to pause it. I have to go study, so thanks for watching. What's the sign-off? I always forget the sign-off. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. I should write that down somewhere so I don't forget. Anyways, thanks a lot. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time.